So I've been doing some planning and prep for upcoming daily videos and for that eclipse that we're gonna have in April. So that's April 19th, we'll have eclipse right at the end of Aries, so about 29 degrees of Aries. And so, right now I'm looking at the chart and I'll show you the chart here in a minute, and we'll move forward in time because around an eclipse, it's not just, one big event and then we're done. An eclipse is the most powerful measurement in astrology, and the effects can last up to 6 months until the next eclipse season. And actually it can last a lot longer if it falls in a very sensitive area in your chart, meaning it's conjunct like an angle or a planet in your chart, maybe opposing or squaring a planet. Now, how does this, play out? When can we look for aftershocks, so to speak? And that doesn't necessarily mean anything good or bad, but just meaning associated events down the road. When can we see developments? Now, this eclipse coming up is conjunct Jupiter, and so it's they're about 6 degrees apart, but still effective because they're in the same sign. And effective just meaning that we're going to see Jupiter influence. And Jupiter is about expansion. It's about bringing more into our world. It's about opportunity. And in the sign of Aries, it could also mean going too far. There's negative and positive manifestations that we can see resulting, and we have free will. We can make choices on what we're going to do with this energy. So, it comes in April 19th, but then we're going to see there's some really important dates coming in after. So I want to show you the chart. Let's take a look at this. So you can see here it's April 19th. This says 9 a.m. and the eclipse occurs later in the day. So let's move the moon forward here. And you're going to see the sun and Jupiter, or the sun and the moon, they're moving through the chart. That's because the earth makes one rotation in 24 hours. So here the sun is setting. Okay, that's the west. This is the horizon here. If all of this is confusing, watch my first video about natal charts and how to read natal charts. These are transits. This is not a natal chart. This is where the planets will be April 19th. So the sun is setting and the moon's getting really close to the sun. So right after the sun sets in New York, because location matters, we're gonna see that eclipse there. Okay, so it's gonna happen right before midnight, actually, on April 19th. And then here's Jupiter at 23 degrees of Aries, so about 6 degrees away. We may not see, a big event around this time. We could see it a little bit later when Jupiter gets to that point of the eclipse, and the eclipse happens at 29 degrees of Aries. So let's go forward a few days. Okay, so now it's not April 19th anymore on this chart. We're moving forward, May 10th, 11th, 12th. Now we see Jupiter at 29 degrees of Aries, 25 minutes. There we go. So that's on May 16th, Jupiter is going to cross that point. Now when and I'll go back to the chart in a minute, but when a planet crosses that eclipse point, especially if it's within a month of the eclipse, we usually see significant event around that time, because an eclipse, it's like it burns a hole in the sky, which it really doesn't. Okay, I'm speaking metaphorically, but it's like it burns a hole in the sky, and that's a sensitive spot for a while. Like if you have a wound, it's going to be sensitive. You don't want to bump it. You don't want to get any lotion or chemicals on it. It's sensitive, and so if something bumps that wound, you're going to feel it. So not necessarily saying that when Jupiter crosses that point, you're gonna have pain, but just saying, we're gonna notice this, and that's around May 16th. Now, there's other things going on here, which is the reason why I made this video. So let's go back to the chart and look. Here you can see that Jupiter is at that eclipse point we have Mars here at the end of Cancer, and Jupiter will be squaring Mars, okay? Aries and Cancer are both cardinal signs. So they're at the end of the cardinal signs. Jupiter is squaring Mars, and you know, with a square, we say that's tension, okay? And that can be a challenge for us. But Mars and Jupiter getting together, even when it's a square, even when there's tension, the outcome is usually pretty fortunate. I like Jupiter-Mars combinations because what you do is more likely to get you what you want. And so at first glance, I would say, oh, I like this setup. And I think around May 16th, that looks like that could be pretty fortunate. But Pluto comes into play here. So let's look back at the chart. And as soon as Jupiter crosses that point, it's going to go into Taurus, make an exact square to Pluto. And a couple days later, Mars goes into Leo and opposes Pluto, and Jupiter is squaring. And we have the North Node here. When Pluto and Mars get together, when Pluto and Mars get together, there's a whole range of things that can happen, but the number one thing I would say is that it can be explosive, and it's very, very high energy. This is very strong power, and it's in an opposition, which means that this gets played out in relationships. Oppositions are about relationships and relating to other people and interacting with other people. And so there could be ego battles. There could be confrontations. With the Jupiter, square, Jupiter makes larger whatever it touches and wherever it goes in the chart. It's expansive. So that's why we say bring in more. It's opportunity. And that can be a good thing, but Jupiter making something bigger can also be, destructive. And so, whether it's events that we want in our life or whether it's things that we don't want, we don't know that, and we won't until May. But knowing these dates beforehand, can be helpful. And, my thoughts on this are still developing. And so this is a conversation I'll definitely revisit, but I wanted to share it with you because I just noticed this. So, we can expect, around the eclipse, within a few days of April 19th, we can expect some sort of event, and then we can see, a big development in mid-May. And so this is going to affect people who have placements at the end of the cardinal signs. That is Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer. But we're also going to see this affect people with early degree placements of the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Now, as far as right now, what I will say is this is very strong energy that's coming in that can be used for ambition or going after what we want. I think that we can plan on using this energy, constructively. What do you want for your life? And for the best possible outcome, include other people in your decisions. If you, are full steam ahead by yourself, only thinking about, what you want and how your decisions can benefit you, I think that's when we're going to see the negative consequences here. I think that if you discuss your plans with the people closest to you, make sure, they know where you stand. Try to think about how your decisions affect other people, group setting at work. Discuss your thoughts with your boss, with your coworker. Try to gain cooperation. That's when we're going to see the best possible outcome here. So let's stick with that for now, and we'll revisit it in the near future.